Miyan Williams went off on Saturday afternoon against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He went off and he was recognized by the conference for his performance by being honored with the title Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. We're not done talking about Miyan Williams and his performance. It was so good. There's more to say about what he did to the Scarlet Knights on Saturday afternoon.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is a Tuesday, October 4th in the year 2022, and today's episode of Locked On Buckeyes is sponsored by SimpliSafe Home Security. With Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe, 24/7 monitoring agents capture evidence to accurately verify a threat for faster police response. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Visit simplisafe.com/lockedoncollege to learn more. On today's episode, we will discuss CJ Stroud, his struggles, and if we should expect to see more of these struggles later on in the season, as well as an interesting thought about Denzel Burke. But before we get to any of that, Miyan Williams went off with 189 rushing yards, a career high, 5 touchdowns, enters him into the Ohio State record books, and he was named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Now, a few things that stick out to me when I think about Miyan Williams winning this award is that it was not a co-award this week. It was Miyan Williams by himself, not sharing his title this week with anybody. Miyan Williams went off in the Big Ten and said, hey, ain't nobody else coming in this party. This is Miyan's party, and he is in here by himself. Also, Miyan Williams over the weekend tied Ohio State for the Ohio State's record for most rushing touchdowns in a single game. Tied two former Ohio State running backs, Pete Johnson in 1974 had 5 rushing touchdowns against North Carolina, and then Keith Byers in 1984 had 5 rushing touchdowns against the Illinois Fighting Illini, who are a big reason why Paul Chryst does not have a job right now. If you only rushed for 2 yards in a game, that's so bad. If you only rush for 2 yards in a game, and people know what your ceiling is, yeah, your school might be fed up and say, hey, get up out of town. We got to get somebody else in here that can take us to the next level. Miyan Williams, 5 touchdowns over the weekend. That's one of the many things the Big Ten Conference recognized in their email discussing Miyan Williams and their press release in regards to some highlights from the game over the weekend. Something else they highlighted, Miyan Williams rushed for a career high of 189 yards and tied a 38 and 48-year school record with 5 rushing touchdowns in the game. He averaged 9 yards per carry. He almost averaged a first down every time he ran the ball. Let that sink in for you. Then he also he is the most recent player to win this award, the last player to win Offensive Player of the Week for the Big Ten Conference from Ohio State, QB1, CJ Stroud. This award also is the 4th player in a row that has won Big Ten Offensive or Defensive Player of the Week, Big Ten Player of the Week from Ohio State. The first player, Marvin Harrison Jr., in September 12th, the September 12th award, when he was out there stunting like his daddy. He won this award earlier this year, was co-offensive player of the week that week with Talea Tagovailoa. The following week, CJ Stroud went off. He was Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week during that week, and just last week, Tommy Eichenberg, with his performance, won co-Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. And when I think about Miyan Williams and this performance, his running style, his aggressiveness, his vision, his ability to have wiggle and be able to slip tackles, and at times in ways that people never thought Miyan Williams would be able to do these things, my mind goes back to hearing stories about him as a recruit, seeing how he has transformed his body and how he has not lost that work ethic that he got and that was instilled in him a few years ago, and how he keeps getting better and his work ethic keeps getting better right now at Ohio State. So I've heard some recruiting stories. One of them that pops into my mind is from Jeremy Birmingham. He covers recruiting for Ohio State. He's now with Rival, and he's a part of the podcast. Jeremy Birmingham said that when he saw Miyan Williams on his recruiting visit to Ohio State, said it looked like Miyan was about 5'8", 245. Obviously, I've heard some people say 250, but I have not heard a concrete number about how much Miyan Williams weighed when he was being recruited by Ohio State. 245, whatever, 5'8". That's not what you would think the height and weight of a running back would be that Ohio State is going after. But Ohio State went after this young man, and he knew when he got to Columbus, one thing he'd have to do is work on his physique. Because at 5'8", 245, buddy, you're not built like a Derrick Henry, 6'3", 250. Your 5'8", 245 was not the type of 5'8", 245 you can come in and step on the field right away and get the ball rolling. No, that was not the case at all. Miyan Williams had to work on getting the body fat down. He had a work ethic that would allow him, that would help him and aid him to accomplish some goals with his physique. He had that already. But as I watch Miyan Williams play the football, I quickly see that when I hear about him in the recruiting stories and how he's gotten his body in great shape and he keeps on working, keeps grinding in the weight room, keeps eating right, keeps eating better, I think these two things go hand in hand. The Miyan Williams with the body, with the physique that lost the body fat, that keeps getting better, working better, listening to the coaches and listening to the medical staff and the nutritionists that are helping him get the right body for him to be successful on the football field. I think that goes hand in hand. The off-the-field stuff translates to the football field. Yes, we see the vision. Yes, we see the tackles that he breaks. Yes, we see that he can run away from people. We see all of that. But none of that would be possible if he did not have a mindset and commit to getting his body right to be the best running back at Ohio State that he can be. Miyan Williams went off. He won Big Ten Player of the Week. I'm happy for him. I can't wait to see him back on the field this weekend against the Michigan State Spartans. Should be another blowout. Last I checked, the Buckeyes are 25.5-point favorites. For those of you that are betting right now, Miyan Williams is going to be a big piece of the pie and a big part of the game plan for Ohio State. And I am so glad Miyan Williams is a dog and he won this award because he deserved it. Career day for Miyan, and career days deserve to be rewarded outside of the Ohio State University. You know what else does not need to be rewarded? Some of the struggles CJ Stroud has had of late. Should we expect for those things to continue throughout the rest of the season? We'll discuss that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. The numbers don't lie. In the last decade, over 4 million people have chosen SimpliSafe Home Security to protect their home. You don't earn the trust of that many people without doing something right. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. I know because I use SimpliSafe in my own home. They protect you with cutting-edge security technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back. Here's why I love it. With 24/7 professional monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment a threat is detected and dispatch police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not home or can't be reached. SimpliSafe blankets your home in protection with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and outside your home, smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Our monitoring experts use proprietary advanced response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real so you can get the highest priority police dispatch. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplisafe.com/LockedOnCollege. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. That's correct. Sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/lockedoncollege to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Locked on Buckeyes, along with all our other Cleveland podcasts, are now available on Roku and Amazon Fire TV as part of Locked On Sports Cleveland. More great local sports coverage 24/7, and it's free. Download the Locked On Sports Cleveland app today on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. CJ Stroud struggles are something that have been the topic of conversation for many people. You might be wondering if fans, if you should expect this thing to continue, or you should be wondering if these things that we're seeing from Stroud, some of the overthrows, if they would just be a flash in a moment in history, a mere small dot in this season, because you don't want this to continue and you want Stroud to win the Heisman. Now, when you think about the Heisman conversation, I still think Stroud's in the conversation. I think it's Stroud. You got to put Jahmyr Gibbs in there. He was an early season person that was in many conversations. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is in there. I think Bryce Young, I know he got hurt over the weekend. His injury status will really dictate if he's still in this conversation or not. Those three guys are the guys. Quinn Ewers not. He recently got hurt. Will he come back on the field? I know Red Rivers this weekend, really shocked. Part of me is shocked that game day's not going there, but I'm also not shocked because Kansas is undefeated. Kansas is playing good ball, and game day wants to go to two different venues, so they're going to Kansas this weekend. But Quinn Ewers was a person in the offseason. You said, oh, he was in many conversations, hadn't played, hadn't done a pass, hadn't started a game yet, but people said, hey, Quinn Ewers can sling the rock. From what I've seen, he's really been kind of impressive when he's on the field. But the Heisman conversation is one thing, but that's down the road. Stroud might not get to New York. It's some of the struggles that we're seeing if they continue. Now, I think some of the overthrows we're seeing is some of the times when it seems like he is just kind of forcing the ball in there. I think those things will kind of slow down and calm down. I don't think that he's going to continue to do that. I think part of the reason we're seeing some of the throws by Stroud, with Ryan Day running the ball more and Stroud wanting not getting as many passes, I think he's trying to capitalize on some of the passes he's getting right now. And ultimately what we're seeing is some bad throws, errant throws, overthrows, an interception. We're going to talk about interception here in a minute because it was just really, really, really bad throws. But we're just seeing some really uncharacteristic things from Stroud. And it could simply be Ryan Day. The Buckeyes are running the ball more. That's it. Once we realized over the weekend that there was not going to be a backup running back in until the latter part of the third or fourth quarter because Miyan Williams was the guy, part of me thought Stroud would have thrown the ball more. Now the Buckeyes didn't have that many offensive plays, which ultimately derails how many times Stroud can drop back and pass the ball. But part of me thought, hey, Miyan, you're not going to get that many carries, man. I know you're killing it this week. But at some point, you might think, hey, let's give Miyan a rest and let Stroud and let the receivers get open and do their thing. So I think part of this is with the Buckeyes running the ball more, Stroud might want to just make some passes that maybe he shouldn't make it. Maybe make some things to help him out in these races down at the end of the season. Because I think we can say that there are times that Stroud listens to people like myself, people in the media, people that are talking heads, people that are part of the print media, maybe radio stations. I think, can't say for sure, I think we can say that Stroud does listen to some of the things that are written and said about him. There were some things he said last year. Don't know word for word. Can't remember those at this point in time. But it seemed like Stroud is listening to people that are in the crowd. That's not always the best thing to do, especially when you're trying to win games, go undefeated, win a natty, forget what everybody else is saying, and just go out there and play ball. So that's part of the thing there. But I have noticed that Stroud has a tendency and he has the ability to throw the ball into tight windows and capitalize on those opportunities. I remember last year against Indiana, I was actually at that game last year, and it seemed like it was a throw to Jackson Smith and Jigba over the middle of the field. I forget if it was double coverage or triple coverage, but it was not one-on-one coverage. And the ball, still to this day, from my vantage point, it looked like a bad pass. Looked like Stroud made a bad pass. He threw the ball to Njigba in coverage, but Njigba made caught the ball, and it was still one of the best passes, prettiest passes you will see from a college quarterback. I won't say in your lifetime, but just one of the prettier ones you'll see because it was just right on the money. Earlier this year, C.J. Stroud made a comment and said, hey, I guess I just throw the ball where Egbuka and Harrison, where only they can catch the ball. And Fleming's one of those guys where he's throwing the ball where only they can get it. That's great. But at some point in time, you're throwing in these balls into tight windows and you're making all these amazing throws. Sometimes those amazing throws that are into coverage might hurt you. I know Stroud threw a ball into quadruple coverage over the weekend. If you want to be nice and say triple coverage, that's great. But still more than one, still more than two. Three is a lot of people. That's 6 hands that are not going for the ball to go in Ohio State's way. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of unwanted traffic. That's a lot of unwanted territory that is right there with you as Stroud's trying to make this pass. And I wonder what Ryan Day and Corey Dennis are saying, and Kevin Wilson as well. Can't leave him out of this conversation. I wonder what they're saying to Stroud to try to corral him, to try to help him not get in his own way, and trying to help Stroud be the best quarterback he can be. Also, what you're doing is protecting Stroud sometimes from himself, because as competitors, as humans, sometimes we want to do the unthinkable. Sometimes we want to do the extraordinary. Sometimes you want to do those things that are abnormal on the football field to get the oohs and the ahs. Sometimes you want to do those things, and sometimes in those moments, the decisions we make hurt us. I don't expect these things to continue. I expect Stroud to be better. I have to also take into account Stroud is without the guy that had 94 receptions last year in Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he had 15 receptions in the 2 games that Garrett Wilson did not play last year. And Jigba had 15 against Nebraska, 15 against Utah. He doesn't have them. So is he still getting used to Fleming, Harrison Jr., Egbuka, and Stover? That is possible. But as we keep going, you got a bad team this week against Michigan State. You got a bad team in Iowa after the bye week. I sure hope things get better, because Joey Porter Jr. is going to be ready. He's going to be hungry to make Stroud look pedestrian in Happy Valley. No, that game's, yes, in Happy Valley, Halloween weekend on the 29th of October. I think Stroud will get things better. I think he'll get things right. I think he'll fix some things. I believe Stroud will improve. Sometimes not every quarterback's going to have an amazing game every game. It's just happening. I think over the next few weeks, we'll see Stroud just blow our minds with how good he is on the football field. There are some things on the football field with Denzel Burke, and I'll even add TreyVeyon Henderson into this conversation, that leave an interesting thought in my head that we're going to end the show with today. What is said thought? We'll discuss that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. Ready, delicious, indulgent cookie dough covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite. Cookie dough chunk puffs have a light and chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All of the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories, and they are a whopping 15 grams of protein. Run to Built.com to snag a box for you and the family. Don't leave the family out. They'll enjoy this too. It'll be a perfect treat. Or you can find a really good hiding place and just hoard them for yourself. go to built.com and use their friendly promo code LOCKEDON15. That is LOCKEDON, the number 1 and the number 5, and get 15% off your order. Once again, go to built.com and use that friendly promo code LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off at built.com. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus can also set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last for generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. I mean, I literally just ordered a new phone and that thing has been delayed. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for Christmas, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Pick something out and get it shipped in time for Christmas. It is a gift the whole family will enjoy year-round. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Olahausen, Canada, billiards, and more. Plus top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and La Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Once again, check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. So, I have not really spent much time on this type of conversation because I was really wanting and waiting to see how things would go, what would transpire, and how players would play over the next few weeks. But it leaves me just this simple thought. I know earlier I said Denzel Burke at the top of the show. You got to add TreyVeyon and Henderson in this bad boy as well. I add Henderson in this because Henderson has not played up to the standard that Buckeye fans and really the coaches believe he was going to play up to this year. Denzel Burke, something mentally is going on with him. I mean, for you to change your number in the middle of the season, I believe 10 was his high school number. I get it, man. You had 29 last year, where everybody had a feeling we were going to change your number from 29 to something else. You went to number 5 this year. Now you're back to number 10. That's 3 numbers in less than 2 full years. Is it a mind thing going on with Denzel Burke? It's possible. I don't care if you change numbers at all. Do what you want to do. It's a number. I might change numbers if I could. If I was playing football, I might. If I had the luxury, I might do that same thing too. Neither Burke nor Henderson are playing up to their own standard. I have already said I think Miyan Williams should be RB1. People have asked, do I think or should Denzel Burke be benched? Jair Brown, should he play more? He played against Wisconsin. Why didn't he play against Rutgers? There is this thought about benching players. How will that player respond to getting benched? Now, in Henderson's case, he would still play. He would not be benched and not play. In Burke's place, I think Burke would still play, but he would not be the number 1 corner or one of the top corners at Ohio State. No, that would not be the case. Might be on specials. And so there's times for Burke to get on the field. You might even have a dime. I don't think we'll really see a dime package, but if there was a dime package out there and all the corners are healthy, even if they're not, if Burke is not one of the top 2 corners, Burke will come on the field and fill that role. So I ask, will you keep the players? Will you lose the players? How will that player respond? Because some players, if you bench them, if they lose that starting role, they're mentally gone. They are gone, disconnected, not there. And with the way the portal can be utilized, they might go to the portal. You might say, oh, I got that player for 2 more years. No, you have him for 0. But hey, you want to put the best players on the field. But coaches also know there is a delicate line, a fine line you cannot cross. And if you cross that line, it's the line of, if I make this move, do I lose a player completely? If I make this move, do I lose him and does he not come back? And is he not the same player when he's on the field that we need him to be? I have heard specifically in basketball, and it goes for all sports, all team sports, but specifically in basketball, I have heard there have been times that coaches draw up plays for certain players early within the first 5 minutes of a basketball game, because if that player does not get the ball early in said game, or maybe they're a bench player, if they don't get on the court at a certain time and get a certain amount of minutes, you lose them. They are mentally disconnected. They'll be on the floor, but they will not be as engaged as they should be. And so you have to get them involved early, and getting them involved early, one, is going to up their play, but two, you're going to get more of them for longer in that game than you would if you didn't get that player the touch or touches that they require early in the game. So I think about connecting that with Henderson and Burke. If the Buckeyes do move and make Miyan Williams RB1 and TreyVeyon Henderson RB2, does Henderson completely check out? That's a question. If Burke does get benched, knowing that Cam Brown's injured, knowing that Jordan Hancock's injured, knowing that J.K. Johnson or Ja'Kalen Johnson, whatever you want to call him as his first name, if he's healthy and you pull Burke for Jair Brown, well, what do we see? How do they respond? I think the coaches, I think Tony Alford, I think Ryan Day, I think the defensive coaches really understand this. This is delicate, man. So if you bench him, how do they respond? That's something I can't answer. I don't know the answer to that. So even though many people might say there needs to be a change at both spots, running back and corner, benching Burke for somebody else, he just does not look like himself at all. There's also that fine line. If you bench them, will they be disengaged? Sometimes you don't know that until that move is made. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. You may be able to predict it. You might be right. It's a thought. I think you can bench Burke. I think you can also bench Henderson. Put the better guys on the field. There's also the fine line of if you make that move, you might lose those guys, or you need them in crucial parts of games. Guys, out of here on this Tuesday. Happy to be back here on a Tuesday. 3 more shows left before the Buckeyes face the Michigan State Spartans. They should blow them out. Mel Tucker got that bag. Mel Tucker's team is not that good. Michigan State, I know it's only 1 year under this new contract, but my gut says Michigan State paid that man way too much money, and that buyout money, as we see, is high and hefty all over college football. Michigan State will have to open up that checkbook and pay Mel Tucker the bag in the next few years, because I don't know if he's going to get things done in East Lansing. Guys, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. I'm out of here on this Tuesday. Have a great day. It's cooling off a little bit. Enjoy this weather as well. We can find ways to enjoy all the weather all year round. Buckeyes are amazing. Miyan's Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Can't wait to see what happens next. Tomorrow, stock up, stock down. You don't want to miss that.